It's the middle of June in 2024, and I just can't wrap my brain around the fact that it's already summer and mid of the month already gone. And I was just listening to some of the reels that are on my feed, and it sparked this live right now. The gentleman who I just watched has written a couple children's books to talk about the FDA and the untruths or revealing the truths about some of the ingredients and what their side effects are and why the FDA approves them and other places outside of the US ban them. They have about 1,500 ingredients. And I said 1,500, meaning 1,500 ingredients that are not allowed in those parts of the world, but our FDA allows consumption of them because they deem a level to be safe. And those levels, my friend, keep going higher and higher and higher. And when you think about the amount of other toxins that we're bombarded with every day, plus the food, it's no wonder why we're being attacked by all these diseases and other autoimmune issues. So the question is, who do you believe? Do you believe anything? Or are you just going along with the flow and are kind of a puppet and being allowing other people to tell you like how to live your life without doing the research yourself? I've done a lot of research myself. I've also done a lot of research on our body's ability to heal ourselves from these toxins that we consume and that we're surrounded by every day. It's not just what we put on our skin. It's not just what we breathe in. It's not just the electromagnetic energy like our Wi-Fi and the radar and the radio stations. All those frequencies affect us as biological energy beings. And then you add toxins in our food, and then you take away and strip the nutrients that our foods have because our soil is infertile and it doesn't actually have nutrients now. Like, we are not eating the way that is conducive to our vitality. And so my mission in the world is not to really talk too much about all of the food crap because there's so much shit. We can get in a rabbit hole about so many things in the world. But I'm really here to say, hey, knowledge and awareness starts young. And if we can infuse our children with the knowledge about emotional intelligence, how we have control of our own perspective and perception of how our world is, and stop blaming other people for how the world unfolds in front of us, we're able to be manifestors of our life. Because in that moment, when we start young, we start to realize that we actually are creators of the world. We are manifestors of the world. And it's all about, are you focusing on manifesting the good in your life? Or are you actually subconsciously not feeling like you're worthy of it, so you're manifesting the not so good things in your life? And that happens, right? It happens because we are being fed a program early on about how we're not enough, how we need to shut up because we're too loud, we're too rambunctious, we're too willful. And then we're told that we need to dim our light. We're told that, not in so many words. And we start believing that we need to fit in to belong, as opposed to belonging for who we are. Right? We literally chip away at ourselves so that we could fit in that box. We start to chip away at our own self-worth to fit in the box that we think everybody wants us to be in. And you know what happens as a side effect? Nobody relates to us, nobody likes us, because we're actually not being true to who we are. And so what happens is that we actually start living outside of our own authentic beliefs and reality. because we want to fit in, that it becomes a fight and a struggle. Because in that moment, I don't know about you, but for me, what I felt was, I don't know who I'm supposed to be. I'm doing all these things to fit in, and I still don't fit in. People still don't like me. People still don't understand me. I still feel alone. Have you felt yourself in this position before? Hello, everybody. So manifesting is a true thing because words manifest into matter. So are you speaking words that are aligning with who and what you are, or are they really just there as fillers because you don't know who you are anymore? Exactly. People don't need to like you, and it's none of my business what people think about me. Gianna, thank you for that comment. People don't need to like you because you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You're not. It's impossible to have 100% of the population like you. So we need to just get over that. We need to get over the fact that we are an acquired taste, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, you don't like broccoli. I love broccoli. You don't like, oysters. I love oysters. Somebody else likes the escargot. I don't like escargot. First of all, I've never tried escargot, so I can't get somebody else's yum. But you know what I mean? Like an acquired taste. That's the way we need to see life. So thank you for that. We need to see life as you're an acquired taste for people. So the truth is that when you are powerful and you're in your truth, there is nothing that can knock you down because you're not questioning your own integrity. My day has been great. Thank you so much for asking. I love that you cared enough to ask me many times about my day, my skibbity day. You threaten the existence of skibbity toilet. Well, don't skibbity the toilet if you need to go, mister. So my point is to say, yes, I'm reading your comments, and like here we go again, like needing to get the attention. We need to like, look at me, I matter. Can you show me proof that I matter? Like, how many times do we look for proof that we are enough, that we matter? We don't. I think it's almost contrary. We look for all the evidence of how we don't work and how people don't like us. Like, I think we are wired to see the negativity in the world as opposed to our blessings. And so instead of needing people's attention and saying, hey, look at me, just be okay in your own skin. Be okay being present with who you are and what you're bringing out in the world. And if your presence is worthy of attention because you're giving yourself the worthiness of attention, like you're giving yourself the own worthiness. When it comes from within, you'll start to experience people paying attention to you because it's coming from you. You're not looking for validation outside of you. You're, in a sense, being your own provider of love, comfort, acceptance, belonging. And that's really all we have. All we have is our own perspective and perception of how the world unfoils in front of us. Unfurls? You know what I mean? So I want to ask you guys, like, what is the biggest thing that you struggle with in the world? Is it really feeling like you belong? Is it finding clarity in the world? Is it finding your purpose? Like, what is the thing that you struggle most in the world besides the toilet? Obviously, you can't find the toilet, and it's a skibbity. Maybe skibbity is the name you called it. MTC 41. You definitely need attention there. Did you get ignored as a child? And I don't mean this as a harmful, like, hurtful way. I'm just saying, like, we act as adults what we lacked
in childhood. And so apparently this guy is, or woman, I don't know, maybe it's a they, maybe it's a it. I don't know. People identify so many different ways now, and I want to try to keep up. But like the truth is, we are soulful beings trying to remember who we truly are as energetic, powerful beings. Skibbity, skibbity. Why don't you just say giggity, giggity? It's actually giggity, giggity is funnier than skibbity, skibbity. But I'm sure you're getting a kick out of me saying it every time. Giggity, skibbity, giggity, skibbity. How old would you guess I am? Because that's another thing. I've noticed that when I started doing spiritual healing and going back to the young, youthful self that I was, that I hid away in a closet, I told her it wasn't okay for her to come out. Once I told her that she was okay to come out, I literally felt and looked younger. My skin, my energy, like all of that stuff just lifted. And although I think that everybody's saying age ranges that are just getting attention, I want to say, like, truthfully, like, how old do you think I am? And it doesn't matter how old I am, because it's really about how old you feel. And I think in reality, we all feel younger than we are. And I think we get stuck in that childhood version of us. But the one thing that we do that is not a service to us is that we lock away the exuberant, joyful, younger version of ourselves. Like, we feel young as far as like our mindset, what we want to do energetically. Like, we don't want to grow up and be like these serious adults. But the funny thing is that what we do that we don't realize that we do, thank you. My age is beautiful. Yes, age is beautiful, right? We're blessed to age. But what I want to say is, like, we blocked that inner child that is joyful, that has unabashed enthusiasm about everything. And that is where youthfulness lives. That is where joy resides. So if you're really looking to spark joy in your life again, tap into that inner child of you, of that version of you that didn't care that people were looking because you were singing and being crazy and stupid. Like, my kids get embarrassed sometimes because I'm sitting there going, I'm just going to talk to anybody. I'm going to sing out loud. Something comes up and I just get like in the moment, and I allow myself the freedom. Because once you get a certain age, like, you really, that's why I think people who live in their 80s and 90s really have a secret that they should share with all of us. It's like, you realize that all the things, trying to fit in, people pleasing, worried about not being liked, and all those things, like, all those things don't fucking matter. They don't matter. Because in reality, the only thing you're doing is not showing your true light. And your true light is inspiring. It could literally shift an entire person's life by you being honest and truthful about who you are and what makes you tick. Like, if we actually spoke up about how we felt about situations, and maybe somebody said something that triggered you and you just didn't tell them in that moment because you want to be liked and you don't want to hurt their feelings, well, you just did them a disservice. You're a selfish being, because that person could have actually taken that insight, that loving feedback, as an interruption to their life and how they can grow and be a better version of themselves. But you robbed them of that because you held it back. Because you decided that you were too cool, that you were more important than that person's growth, than being honest to create connection. And then you wonder why you don't feel connected to people. And then you wonder why you feel alone. Well, fuck. Nobody knows how to feel around you because you pussyfoot around everything. Like, stop being so scared to tell people how you really feel, because there is growth and love in that. If it comes from a place of love and compassion, because you care about that person, and you see them in their higher greatest good, then by all means, tell me when I'm an asshole. Tell me when I said something that upset you. Give me insight into you. That's what we're here for. So much is needed for us to be a mirror for each other, but without it being a hateful, hurtful thing. Like, I think so many of us don't know how to respond, right? Because people trigger us, and so we react. We don't respond. We're not responsible in our response, right? The word responsible is in responsibility, and the ability to respond in a loving, compassionate way. That's the only time people hear you. You would only hear people if they responded that way to you. So why don't we reciprocate? You know what I mean. Sometimes I get tongue-tied. And these words, because I'm Latina, these words sound like gibberish to me. Soda sometimes sounds like a foreign language. So I want to say, my hand is right here. And my other hand is here. And I just want to ask, like, what life vision are you painting for yourself? Are you painting a portrait of all your demise and all your hurt and all the times people betrayed you and hurt you? Because we all have it. We all have those stories. It doesn't do us any service to only focus on that aspect of our lives, because all it does is enables us to feel more and more unworthy, like we're not good enough, like we're a burden to people. So my advice and my invitation to you is to take a moment to start looking and finding evidence of your greatness. Looking and finding evidence of love. Looking and finding evidence of how you belong and why you belong. I am in USA. Thank you, Nina Nanya, for asking. Yes, I am Latina. I call myself a Mexican. So I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican, and I'm a Mexican. And my children have Irish, Scottish, and Finnish in them, so I call them Mexicanish, which is a really funny, cute thing that I do, but it's just for the in-house stuff. But once I started going through this process of learning mindset and really mind over matter, like it really is mind over matter, my children started to kind of implement the things that I was doing, not because I was asking them to, but because of osmosis, because I was modeling it, they were doing it. So when I would have a fit of fury because they did or said something that was against a parental's wishes, right? And children, you know, people in general trigger us, but nobody triggers us more than our children, because our children literally are our teachers. Like, where I haven't learned my life lessons, my children are here to sweep it up, to make sure, like, before I die, these are the things you get to clear up before you go to be whole and complete. And so I think that's why children are such masters at triggering us, because they are the biggest mirror to us. But the beauty in discovering my own truths and my own peace is that my children started by osmosis, taking on the same leadership skills that I was imbuing and also showing them. So we would get in a fight, I would yell, I would lose my temper. A couple minutes later, I would be like, you know what, I'm so sorry. I really lost my temper. When I said that, it had nothing to do with you. I got triggered because of my own insecurities or whatever it is in that moment. I speak it. And I did that a couple times, and then like my daughter, especially being a teenager, right? Like, who has teenage daughters out there? Teenage daughters start off really tough, but I think that teenage boys end up closing off. Like, girls explode, but teenage boys go introverted. So it's even more important for boys to have a space of freedom to speak their truth, especially when it comes to their feelings, because the more that they feel not judged and the more that they feel welcomed to share that, the more open they will be in the moments that get harder. Because as they get older, I mean, one thing I used to hear is small kids, small problems, big kid, big problems. And as my kids are turning into teenage years, I'm really starting to see that, especially with the social media and the way that the temperature of the world right now is, tough to navigate, especially going through COVID for them, at the years that were formidable for them. I mean, I think we all had our traumas during COVID. So my point is to say, how are you focusing your attention? Are you looking for the things that you lack? Are you looking for the things that you don't have? Are you focusing mostly on scarcity? Because you can't have abundance in your life and manifest abundance in your life if subconsciously you're believing that you're in scarcity, that you aren't worthy of it. If you're not worthy of it, how can the universe bring it to you? So one of the things I want to leave you with today, one of the simplest, easiest, most powerful things that you can do today is go in, pause, ask yourself, is this thought true? Is what I'm thinking really true, or am I basing it off of a past experience? Because a lot of the times we're actually creating our future based off of past events. So we're just cycle, like repeat, or like in the cycle of being crazy. Like they say, when you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that's like psychopath mentality, right? Same thing. And so if you're only focusing and looking for evidence of why you suck and why you're not good enough, you're going to find it. So my invitation to you is to start looking at the abundance of life. You see, there's so many white cars in the street. There's so much sand pebbles in the sand, right? At the beach. There are so many trees in the street that I'm driving. There's so many dogs. There's so many people at this event. Like, abundance is everywhere, and we need to just start looking for it. We need to start surrounding ourselves and pointing our fingers at it and going, oh my God, I have such abundance of shoes. Maybe you have 30 pairs of shoes. That's abundance. Maybe you have, 50 handbags. That's definitely abundance. Like, really, if you start to really focus on the positives, you start to feel them because they become and envelop into you. So my invitation is, are you manifesting negativity or positivity? Because the only way you can tell what you're doing is to focus on what you're focusing on. Like, pay attention to what you're focusing on. Are you focusing on the negativity, or are you really there for abundance? Because whatever you focus on, you're going to get more of. So if you want love, don't just focus on love, give it. If you want abundance, don't just focus on it, give it away. If you want joy, choose it, be it, become it. It's very contagious. And when people are enveloped by your contagious joy and laughter and happiness, the world is a better place. So create love and joy and passion in your life everywhere you go. Because you never know when you have the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life. And you showing your joy and you showing your truth could be the one thing that person needed in that day, to be a yes to life, to be a yes to them, to be a yes to joy. So So my friends, I ask you today, how are you spreading joy? How are you moving forward in positivity and abundance in your life? Please share with me. Please share with others. Most importantly, share with the people that matter in your life. Tell them. Tell them how much you love them. Show them how much you care for them. And then give love to people who need it the most, including you. Starting with you. And most importantly, you. Give yourself love so that you can be overflowing with it and give it in abundance. Once you do that, the universe is like, oh, I need to fill you up with more of it. And that's when the magic happens. But it really starts with you going in first and being kind to yourself. Because when you're kind to yourself, you can be kind to others. And it is hard, but it's a simple choice. It's a simple choice, but it's hard. You need, the only thing that you need is to trust the process. Trust the process and believe in yourself. And believe that there are people out there who want the best for you. And reach out to them. Reach out to those people who believe in you, because our closest loved ones sometimes can be our worst enemies. Because they've known you for a long time and they don't think that you have the ability to make the change. But it's just because they're not ready for the change themselves. So if people in your life are not giving you what you need, search for it. There are people out there who are so happy, who are overflowing with love and generosity like me, who want to just help you. And you don't have to wish for me as a therapist. I'm a mentor, I'm a guide, I'm a coach, whatever you want to call me. I'm a friend. I'm here. You don't have to do anything but reach out to me and get on a clarity call and just talk to me. What's getting your way? How can I help give you clarity? Because you mean the world and you matter and you're enough. And it's time that you believe that, because I believe in you. And if you have a friend or a loved one who is struggling, I invite you to share this live with them. Because the more that we share our truths, the more that we share our love, the more that we can make an impact in the world. And I just want to say, until next time, my friends, please remember to be kind to yourself and others. Keep those energies flowing. And Wolverine, I hear you, honey. I want to talk to you, and I want to invite you to please reach out to me in any way. Personal message me. I struggled with PTSD, and I learned a technique that really helped to move and repattern that. And it took no effort. It just took 15, 20 minutes of doing it. It's called EFT, Emotional Freedom Tapping. And there's so many world veterans that are traumatized from war, people who have super big traumas, who have healed, even people who have phobias. People who have intense phobias really heal from doing what's called emotional freedom tapping. And all you're doing is tapping parts that are aligned with your meridians. Meridians are energy pathways in our body that run up and down like energy ribbons in our body. And there are so many that are in our face. And if you tap onto them and you say a phrase, like uplifting phrase, it helps to repattern that trauma so that you can really start to see the trauma but not be affected by it. So you almost kind of start to see it as an outsider. Like you are here right now. PTSD, you're here, you're in it, and you're feeling it every time you think about it. And EFT allows you the ability to start to separate yourself from the emotional attachment, which is what actually physically harms us. And we're able to see it as an event that happened so that we can have a clearer mindset of being able to allow the lesson of that trauma to fully come forward. because there was something there that we needed to learn about ourselves or about the world that we weren't listening to. And a trauma sometimes is like in your face, let's do this. And we want to attach ourselves and become our identity is held upon our trauma, and we only allow ourselves our identity because of it. But we're not we're not identified by our trauma. Now I want to say, don't identify yourselves by your trauma, because you're not your trauma. You're the lesson, and you're the being that will rise up above it. That's who you are. So anyway, Wolverine, thank you for your for saying that, because I think that was I hope that people really learned or heard something there that would help them, and maybe they'll reach out and see that they have choices, that they don't have to be stuck anymore. And so I thank you very much for being here, and I thank everyone who was here today, and even the people who are saying silly things and the trollers out there. You are also loved. And even though people feel compelled to want to throw the dust and throw the dirt at people, like those are the same people that actually help lift us, because it's in those moments that we see how much pain there is out there and why we're needed. People like us are needed out there, because when you look at these messages and people being trolling and saying hurtful things, it's like, that's why I'm here. To be like, oh my gosh, you don't need to be an asshole. Like, did you need a hug? Do you need a friend? Do you need to be told that you're enough and I love you? Because I do. Like, why do you feel like you have to hurt people? Why do you feel like you have to bring people down? Is that how you were treated? Because that's not the way people should be treated. Like, remember how that made you feel. So my power to you is to say, be empowering. Be the power force that brings amazing love in the world, and not more of the shit. Like, we have so much of the shit that now we're getting too like nose blind to it. Like, we're not even seeing so much of the shit out there because it's too much. I think if you wanted to cause waves and create an impact, like, be the opposite. Like, be so loving and so uninterruptedly like loving with people. Like, be a loving interruption in people's lives that you can't help but get attention, because it's something that people don't understand. You're like, wait a minute, you're being a loving interruption, like you're being an asshole, but for my greatest good? Like, I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. Like, I don't know. But can you imagine the shifts? Can you imagine the greatness that you can create from that? So I invite you to just look within yourself. Like, are you causing love? Or are you being like begetting more of the negativity which you're experiencing? If you want love, be love. I'll say it again. It's worth to say again. Thank you, Wolverine. And I will follow you as well, because you sound like somebody who has a really good head on their shoulders and is looking for that thing, right? That makes sense. And you know what makes sense. It's just hard to navigate this world, and it's hard to feel supported, because the people who speak out and talk about spirituality or anything like that, we're called woo-woo. Like, oh, it's the woo-woo thing. No, it's not the woo-woo. Science now can have scientific backing up our data. So now it's true. So the people who say woo-woo, I'll be like, nah, it's true. Do your research, my love, because now you look like an idiot. And I love that I can say that, because it's like, I mean, we got literally witches got burned at the stake for the same thing. And so here we are. What is true to you? Whatever is true to you is true to you. And I invite you to get curious about what's possible. If your life is not working the way you want, I invite you to get curious about what's possible and how you can shift. You're not set in stone where you are. So don't be the one who says, I tried everything. No, you haven't tried everything. Because obviously there's something there that works. Because there are so many people. If you follow Joe Dispenza, Joe Dispenza alone is one word, one person who is documenting all these amazing miracles happening in the world. And all it is people changing their mindset and choosing them in a new perspective and reality. That's all they're doing. And this is what they don't want us to know. We're programmed to think that we're just this biological body who can't do anything. And we need God to help us because he's going to help us. Oh, no, we're the creators of our life. We're the creators of our life. He made us in his likeness. God gave us his God DNA to make us in his likeness. And we have forgotten that we have godlike powers to manifest. Now that we know that words literally create your truth, and we know the Bible says God spoke life with his word. It's the same thing. Like if you actually read the Bible and read what it says, it's all the things that we are forgetting, that we are told to forget. And I think the whole religious thing, the whole choose a religion was made for us to feel divided and feel like we needed to choose something or else you don't belong to anything. And if you don't belong to the right thing, then you don't belong. And that started the whole divide. That started the whole perspective of thinking that we were different. But the truth is we're all the same. We just want to fit in. We're trying to figure it out. And so it's not hard. It's not complicated. Spirit wants us to be you guys make things so overcomplicated. You overthink things. You're so analyzers. Why do you analyze everything? It's simple. Just say that I love and I am love. Be love and you'll get love. Be abundance. Feel abundant. You'll get abundant. Live your authentic truth. You'll have abundance unlocking for you. Synchronicities will happen and your life will unfold before you. But no, we have to sit here and be like, I'm not good enough. I didn't graduate college. I only have one certificate. I haven't read many books and I don't have clients. And we make it so fucking complicated. And I almost feel like society is making it feel like it needs to be in order for us to be successful. But the truth is, success is easy. Abundance comes naturally. It's us who blocks it. It's our own beliefs that stop us from living our ultimate life. So back to what I started with, perspective and perception. You perceive what you believe. And then you have a perspective based off of it. And my question to you is, are you arguing to be right? Or would you rather argue and choose a relationship? Because when you argue to choose a relationship, you find mutual ground. You find mutual space where you can both live with your own separate opinions and finding love. And I think when we can do that, we can talk about religion and we can talk about politics with people. Yes, definitely gaining understanding. You can't just be yes. Arguing and talking to understand the other person's point of view, not just to argue your point to be right. Thank you, Wolverine, for that. For sure, 100%. Arguing to understand the other person's point of view should be where your heart is. And then also listening with an open heart, because you don't know what you don't know. And then at the same time, sometimes you just got to be we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Mom?
Yes, my love.
Hi.
I'm on a live. Do you have to talk to me now?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, can you be on camera when you do it?
No.
It's, why are you emotional all the time, Ja? Can you explain to me what makes you very emotional?
Can you look at like movie times and click it?
Okay, honey.
Thank you. Hi guys.
Hi. So, I would say that I used to be emotional all the time too. I'm a Latina woman who feels passionately, so I would say I'm emotional every time. So Wolverine says, correct. I always say I don't know everything, but what I do know is that I can learn something new every time. Yes, you're so wise, Wolverine. I love you for being on this live today. Thank you for your wisdom and for sharing your heart. And it's true. And a lot of the times it's really about just feeling heard. I think that a lot of us carry around our fears, wanting to be heard and seen. And we go around huffing and puffing like a hurt little child, throwing tantrums until we feel seen and heard. And I think that's our biggest downfall. And it's because it's that inner child wound we have not healed. So I'll go back to what I said earlier. It's really about going into your inner child and releasing that little version of you that you put away, that you chipped away at. You said you're not good enough to come out, so you got to hide. Once we can actually fully go back to who we are as individuals, and it's just remembering those visions of you as a child, unabashed, bridled joy. When you can tap into that person and bring her into the future, him, it, they, to the future, then you can really fully live into your authentic self. I'm very transparent, says Wolverine, with who I've become, but sometimes I still struggle with past decisions I've made. Yes. And you know what, Wolverine, the only thing that helped me was having grace. Grace was the biggest word that I used for like a whole 2 months going through this process of leadership and learning, like where I was. The only thing that really allowed me to push forward was having grace with myself, because I realized I didn't know any better then. I didn't know then what I know now. So there was no way that I was going to make a better decision. There was no way that I was going to make a better informed choice than I did in that moment. Also, it's because I was not myself. I was out of my own integrity, out of my own values, surviving, hoping to fit in, people pleasing, that what I did in that moment was not me. Not me, not my choice. It's who I thought I needed to be to survive in that moment. And that was the only thing that gave me the ability to have grace with myself. So when I had grace with myself is when really my healing started. It's really the only time I was able to really have healing journey. Grace, and I tried to forgive. I did the whole forgiveness thing. But something I learned recently about forgiveness is that it gives you a quantum entanglement with the other person. It wasn't until I allowed myself to accept my past, accept those situations and those moments, accept them as it's what happened. It's not who I wanted, it's not what I wanted, but it's what happened, and I just need to accept what happened. Have grace and let it go. It wasn't until I did that I was actually lifted. Like seriously, my shoulders went from being like 30 pounds down here to like negative 20 pounds up here. Lifted all that weight. And so Jay, I hear you saying, Jay Young is saying, you're worried about upsetting other people. So you keep a lot locked in. So if you want to go back, I don't know, I think you might have just jumped in, but if you want to go back a few minutes, I was just talking about how you're doing a disservice to people, how you're being selfish by not allowing these people to see their truth and how you're experiencing them. It wasn't until I was in a training, what they call a container, like a training room,
with mentors and coaches and other cohorts like me, that they were a loving interruption. They were able to say to me what they were hearing me say and how I was showing up. And it wasn't until then that I saw all the things that I thought was coming to me as an outside experience. It wasn't until then that I realized I was creating those experiences for myself, because I was still not feeling worthy. I was still talking from that space of not worthy, not worrying about hurting people's feelings, people pleasing. So I was not myself. I was going outside of my integrity, outside of my values. So I don't know who I was tapping into, but I was not tapping into my truth. And people sense it. Energy cannot lie, and people sense it. So even though you think that you're actually giving somebody grace by not speaking the truth, they actually know. They actually go home and they go, something happened with my friend Ja Rong, J.A. Young, Ja Young, and he or she wasn't clear and honest with me, but I know something happened. Like, come on, how many times have you left a conversation feeling empty or weird because that person wasn't being honest with you? That's the same thing you're doing. And you don't have to forgive people, but when you don't forgive people, you're giving away your power. You're letting them have your power every time. They're holding on to your personal power when you allow them to take it from you. So by not forgiving them, you're not forgiving yourself for the experience. And the best advice or suggestion is to talk to somebody who has more experience with trauma and about forgiveness, because it's really not about forgiveness for them. You're not doing it for them. Forgiveness is really more about allowing you to let go so that you can live your life and move forward. Because every time you're being belittled or feeling like you're hiding because of this trauma, that person's winning. Because that person's taking away your power every time, like they did, as if you were in that moment. You have good eyes. Oh, thank you. You have to be honest with you and the other person in order to gain some understanding and a new perspective. Yes, honesty is the only thing that we have to give. Integrity and authenticity is the highest vibration out there. It's even higher than love. It vibrates at the highest frequency. So authenticity is really the only place that you can go in order to bring love and healing in the world. And it's because we don't feel safe. Like, why aren't we being honest? Why are we people pleasing? Because we don't feel safe. At least I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe because I was programmed early on that me being myself was not good enough. Me being myself was too much. Me being myself was pissing people off. Me being myself was ruffling feathers. Me being myself, was rambunctious and all that stuff. When you can forgive, you can move on. When you can forgive, you can heal. When you can forgive, you can live your life in its fullest. So if you want to keep giving that person the power, that's your choice. But you have a choice right here, my friend, today, to choose to keep allowing this person to take. Because every time you think of that moment and every time you bring it to your mind's eye and you have that physical, visceral, emotional response to the memory, your body is reliving it like it's actually going through it again. So you're re-traumatizing yourself every time. So yeah, you can choose to do that your whole life. I was doing that for a very long time. Sometimes I still do that on certain things. Like if my husband said something 2 weeks ago, there are times that I relive it and I still allow it to take away my power. And I'm just like, no, I'm better than that now. I know I do not get to give away my power.
I get to infuse it with joy and know that I'm enough and I'm beautiful and I'm perfect and I'm love and I am kind and I am generous. Like what he was going through said more about him in that moment than me. And a lot of the times, if you think of the times that you react to people, that you get triggered by people, a lot of the times, if you're being honest with yourself, you're seeing that that trigger is really like a little deep-seated insecurity that you have that you're not willing to look at. So when you are not willing to forgive or accept, you don't have to forgive the person, but accepting that this shit happened to you because you had no control over it, just accepting, seeing what the blessings of the lessons are in that. And it's hard to do, and I know, because trust me, it took me years and years and years to forgive an abuser. And it's not that I forgave him, I just accepted that this was, I needed whatever it was, you know, and he's going through his own soul journey. And the only thing that I could do for myself to be able to heal and move forward was to accept it and to provide a level of forgiveness for the situation. And I think a lot of the times forgiveness has this weird connotation of you're letting them get away with it if you forgive them. Like, don't forgive them because then they're going to do it to somebody else and say it's okay to do it to somebody else. No, that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is really just about letting go of the energy and the trauma that has a hold on you, that is dictating the choices and the life that you live. So, people can apologize till they're blue in the face, but it's your choice to let go and forgive and accept and release. It's the power that you have. It's your power. Just like you have the power to let the situation unfold and continue to destroy you. So be the victor of your story, no longer the victim of it. And Wolverine, I know that you're going to be a victor of your story just because of what I've seen you typing in here. You are on the right path, my friend. I just want to say, keep going. You're not alone. There's so many people who can use your story as insight, as power for moving forward, because your truth is somebody else's truth too that will help them. So I encourage you to share your truth, to be here, spread love, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Life is short, life is now, and we need to be a yes to ourselves. Because if we're not a yes to us, then we're never going to be a yes to anybody else. I love you. I thank you for being here. I thank you for watching almost an hour. I did not expect this. I didn't even know what I was coming on here first. I was just like, hey, I have something on my mind. And it turns into this, and it's beautiful, and I am grateful for your comments. I am grateful for you being here, even if it was comments like, hi mom. I need to get out of my head so much. I overthink. Yes, over Wolverine. We're really, God, we're our worst critics. We're our worst critics. But hear my words, what I said to you today. They're true. My words to you today were true. And Jia Young, the path of forgiveness is long. And it's a delicate one. But my friend, I ask you to please be curious about what could be on the other side for you. What is possible for you on the other side of acceptance and forgiveness for you. Not for them, because fuck them. Fuck them. Nobody cares about them. I care about you. I care about you. Because you matter and you're enough, and don't allow your past to define you. You are not defined by your past. You get to choose. So choose a better serving story. Smile. And when you feel like the day is bad, just hit your thumbs up. It's a radiant energy. Your energies literally will be lifted just by doing a thumbs up and smiling. So until next time, I hope that you subscribe so that you can be privy to these lives, wisdom, connection, friendship, love. Thank you, Wolverine. Thank you. Thank you, Jia Young. Is it Jia Young or J.A. Young? I like Jia Young. It's like, it feels like a Bollywood song for me. Jia Young. I'm going to sing now. Jia Young. Anyway, thank you all. Please remember, spread love, be kind, give each other a hug. They're free. Goodbye.